4 years of playing supportive and he's just gonna hand over half of everything. God, I'm so good at this. My fiance left a voice memo mistakenly. She forgot I was a PI. I evicted her in 8 hours. Now she's broke, facing felonies, and begging me for money. Hey Reddit, my fiance tried to scam me out of my house, so I kicked her out, exposed her fraud business, and watched her life implode. But she wasn't done trying to ruin me yet. Before we get to that mess, let me start from the beginning. Look, I'm a private investigator. I've been doing this for 8 years. My entire career is built on noticing things other people miss. So you'd think I'd be the last person to get played, right? Wrong. My name's Andrew. I'm 32, and 4 years ago, I met Lauren at a mutual friend's barbecue. She was 28, gorgeous, and had this way of making you feel like you were the only person in the room. We hit it off immediately, started dating within a week. She moved into my house 2 years later, right around the time my PI firm really started taking off. The house, by the way, is important. 3-bedroom craftsman in a good neighborhood, fully paid off, inherited from my grandmother, who basically raised me. That house is the only thing I have left of her. It's worth about $580,000 in today's market, and it's 100% in my name. That detail becomes very relevant later. Lauren and I had been together for almost 4 years when this all went down. Engaged for 6 months. Wedding planned for 4 months out. She'd quit her marketing job about 10 months earlier, said she wanted to focus on wedding planning and finding herself. I encouraged it, told her to take her time, figure out what she really wanted to do. I was making good money. We were fine. Except she wasn't planning a wedding or finding herself. She was planning a heist. It was a Tuesday night, around 9:30. I was in my home office wrapping up some surveillance footage review for a client. Corporate espionage case. Boring as hell, but it paid well. Lauren had been on the couch watching some reality show about housewives throwing drinks at each other. Standard evening. I heard the shower turn on upstairs. 10 minutes later, I headed to the kitchen for a beer. That's when I saw her phone on the counter, screen lit up with a notification. Now, I'm not the type to snoop on my partner's phone. That's psycho behavior, and I've seen enough relationships implode over paranoia to know better. But the notification caught my eye because it was from her voice memo app. Recording to Sarah, 47 seconds. Sarah is Lauren's older sister. They're close. Talk every day. I've met her maybe 4 times in 5 years because she's always so busy whenever I suggest dinner or drinks. Should have been my first red flag. Look, I know what you're thinking. You're a PI and you didn't notice any of this? Yeah, I didn't. Because that's the thing about being good at your job. You save all your investigative energy for people you're paid to distrust. At home, I wanted to be a normal boyfriend, not a paranoid detective running background checks on my girlfriend's coffee dates. Turns out that was a mistake. Won't be making it again. My PI instincts kicked in. Not the romantic partner instincts, the professional ones. Something felt off. Why would she be recording a voice memo to her sister instead of just calling? Why 47 seconds exactly? What's too important to forget but needs to be rehearsed? I picked up the phone and opened the voice memo app and hit play. Okay, so this week I'm bringing up the deed thing again. He still hasn't mentioned a prenup, like, I literally cannot believe this is working. Sarah was right. The longer you wait, the easier they trust you. 4 years of playing supportive girlfriend and he's just gonna hand over half of everything. God, I'm so good at this. Once my name's on that house, I'm basically set. After the wedding, I'll have control over everything. He's so busy with his little detective business, he barely pays attention anyway. I stood there in my kitchen, holding my fiance's phone, listening to her plot to rob me like I was some mark in one of my own cases. The shower was still running upstairs. I had maybe 2 minutes. I did what any good investigator would do. I airdropped it to my phone, then deleted the airdrop notification from her phone. She'd never know I'd accessed it. Then I set her phone back exactly where I found it, screen time out and all. I went back to my office, closed the door, and played that voice memo 3 more times. The funny thing about being a PI is that you develop this almost clinical detachment from bad news. Clients come to me thinking their spouse is cheating, and when I confirm it with photos and timestamps, I don't feel much. It's just data, evidence, facts. But hearing your own fiancé, the woman you've shared a bed with for 5 years, casually strategize how she's going to financially destroy you, that hit different. I'd spent the last 4 years building a life with someone who saw me as a retirement plan, a target, a job. I sat in my office until midnight, staring at my case management software. I had 14 active investigations. None of them were as important as the one I was about to open on myself. I created a new case file. Client name, Andrew Thompson. Subject, Lauren Thompson, soon-to-be ex-fiancé. Case type, fraud investigation. Suspected offenses, conspiracy to commit fraud, misrepresentation, gold digging with intent to financially destroy. My assistant was going to find this hilarious. I didn't sleep that night. Lauren came to bed around 12, curled up next to me like nothing was wrong. Like she hadn't just been rehearsing how to rob me blind. I pretended to be asleep. She kissed my shoulder and whispered, "Love you, babe." I wanted to laugh. Or throw up. Maybe both. Around 2 a.m., I moved to the spare bedroom. Told her the next morning I felt like I was coming down with something and didn't want to get her sick. She bought it immediately, brought me orange juice and made sympathetic faces. Oscar-worthy performance, really. I called my attorney Mark at 8 a.m. sharp. Mark's been my lawyer for 6 years. Handles my business contracts, occasional legal consultations for cases, and he's bailed me out of a few sticky situations when surveillance went sideways. Andrew, it's 8 a.m. Someone better be dead or you better be in jail. Neither. But I need you in the office in an hour. It's important. This about a case? It's about my fiancé trying to steal my house. Silence. Then, I'll put on coffee. I met Mark at his office with my laptop, phone, and a flash drive containing the voice memo. He listened to it twice, face getting progressively more grim. "You're a PI?" he finally said. "And you didn't see this coming? That's the thing about doing this for a living. You never think to investigate the person you love?" Mark leaned back in his chair. "All right, let's talk reality. She's been living in your house for 3 years. No lease, no rental agreement, I assume." "Correct. Does she pay rent? Utilities? Contribute to the mortgage?" "There is no mortgage. House is paid off. And no, she hasn't contributed financially since she quit her job. She's never paid rent. Never signed a lease. Legally, she's a guest who's overstayed. In our state, for non-paying occupants with no written agreement, you can revoke permission with notice. Since she's actively committing fraud, we're going with 24 hours and calling it generous." "How generous do I want to be?" Mark grinned. "Given that she's actively plotting to commit fraud? I'd say 24 hours is extremely generous." We spent 3 hours mapping out the plan. Mark made calls to a locksmith he trusted, a moving company that specialized in fast turnarounds, and a storage facility with good security. He drafted eviction paperwork, cease and desist letters, and prepared documents to freeze our joint bank accounts. "This is going to get ugly," Mark warned. "She's not going to take this lying down." "Good. I've got cameras going up today." "Smart. Document everything. And Andrew, don't engage, no matter what she says, what she promises, what she threatens. Everything goes through me. Understood?" "Understood." I left Mark's office feeling like I was suiting up for war. In a way, I guess I was. The next step was reconnaissance. I'm a PI. This is what I do. I went back through our joint bank accounts, credit card statements, phone records, 5 years of data. I was looking for patterns, inconsistencies, evidence. What I found was worse than I expected. Lauren had been having regular coffee meetups with her sister Sarah for the past 2 years. Every Tuesday and Thursday, like clockwork. The coffee shop was downtown near Sarah's apartment. I pulled the security footage from my car's dash cam. Yeah, I have those. And cross-referenced dates. I'd been fed a line about Sarah being too busy to meet me, but she had time for twice-weekly coaching sessions with Lauren. Interesting. I dug deeper into Sarah's background. 2 divorces, both settled in her favor. The first ex-husband, Michael, lost his condo in the split. The second, James, had to liquidate his investment portfolio to pay the settlement. Sarah walked away with close to $400,000 combined between both marriages. She wasn't just Lauren's sister. She was her mentor, her coach, the veteran con artist training the rookie. Then there was Derek. He came up in Lauren's text messages from about 8 months ago. Lots of deleted conversations, but some fragments remained. Derek said to wait until after the wedding. "Derek thinks you're moving too fast." Derek's advice worked last time. I ran Derek's name through a few databases I had access to. Derek Mitchell, 34, Lauren's ex-boyfriend from college. They dated for 2 years. He'd owned a small tech startup that went under right around the time they broke up. According to public records, his business assets got seized in a lawsuit. The plaintiff? Lauren herself. She'd sued him for unpaid wages as his business consultant and walked away with $35,000. So Derek wasn't just an ex. He was a previous victim who'd somehow become an accomplice. According to the text fragments, Lauren had convinced him the lawsuit was practice, that she'd learned from scamming him, and now they could work together. Classic abuser move. She'd sold him on being partners instead of marks. Guy was too desperate for her validation to see he was being used twice. I spent the next 48 hours acting completely normal, while secretly dismantling our entire shared life. I transferred funds from our joint accounts to a new solo account. Nothing illegal. I had just as much right to that money as she did. I disconnected her from my credit cards. I changed passwords on every account I owned. And I waited. Lauren, meanwhile, was completely oblivious. She spent her days on the couch, laptop open, supposedly working on wedding stuff. I glanced at her screen once when she went to the bathroom. She was browsing designer handbags on a luxury resale site. $8,000 for a used Birkin bag. My money, of course, that she'd be spending. On Thursday night, right on schedule, she brought it up. We were having dinner. Well, I was having dinner. She'd made herself a salad because she was watching her figure for the wedding dress. I was stress eating pasta, like I was training for an Olympic carb loading event. Babe, she said, twirling her fork through lettuce, I've been thinking. Here we go. With the wedding coming up, I'd feel more secure if we added my name to the house. You know, for legal protection. What if something happens to you? I'd be homeless. The audacity. The absolute audacity of this woman. I looked at her. Really looked at her. She was smiling. Casual. Like she'd just suggested we get Thai food instead of Italian. Not like she was trying to steal a house worth over $500,000. Yeah, maybe, I said, keeping my voice neutral. I'll think about it. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. You're the best. I'm so lucky to have you. I squeezed back, smiled. Yeah, lucky. That night I slept in the spare room again. Told her I was still feeling under the weather. She didn't question it. Why would she? I was the oblivious boyfriend, remember? Tomorrow was moving day. Her Friday morning, D-Day, Operation Get This Leech Out of My House. I left at 7 a.m., told Lauren I had an early surveillance job. She was still half asleep, mumbled something about meeting her maid of honor, Vanessa, for brunch later. Vanessa was another character I hadn't paid enough attention to. Lauren's best friend since college. Loud. Opinionated. One of those women who refers to themselves as brutally honest, which is code for I'm rude and make it your problem. I'd met Vanessa exactly twice. Both times, she'd looked at me like I was something stuck to her shoe. At Lauren's birthday party last year, she'd loudly announced, "Girl, you could do so much better," right in front of me. Lauren had laughed it off, said Vanessa was just protective. Mark was already at my house when I pulled up at 8 a.m. He'd brought the locksmith, who was already examining the front door. How many entry points? Mark asked. Front door, back door, garage side door. She doesn't have keys to my office or the basement. Those have always been keyed separately. Smart. Let's change everything. I want her completely locked out. The locksmith got to work. By 9 a.m., my house had brand new locks, and Lauren's keys were worthless pieces of metal. At 10 a.m., the movers showed up. 3 guys with a truck, ready to pack up someone's entire life in boxes. I'd made a detailed inventory of everything that was Lauren's. Clothes, shoes, cosmetics, laptop, that ridiculous collection of scented candles she'd accumulated. Her stuff only, nothing I'd bought, nothing jointly owned. You want us to be careful with this? One of the movers asked, holding up a framed photo of us from our trip to Napa last year. Nope, that can go in the trash. Only pack things that are legally hers. Mark taped the eviction notice to the front door at 10:30 a.m. formal. Legal. Unambiguous. Lauren Thompson, you are hereby notified that your license to occupy the premises at this house is revoked effective immediately. You have 24 hours to retrieve your belongings from the designated storage unit. Failure to comply will result in legal action. I stood on my own front porch, watching strangers pack up my ex-fiance's belongings, and felt absolutely nothing. That's the thing about betrayal this calculated. It doesn't make you sad, it makes you cold. By 1 p.m., Lauren's entire existence had been relocated to a storage unit across town. I'd paid for 2 months up front, 1 month more than legally required because I'm not a monster. Her car keys were in a lockbox by the garage. Code 4567. Everything by the book. Mark looked at his watch. She's meeting her maid of honor for brunch. What time did she say she'd be home? She didn't, but her phone location says she's still at that bougie bistro downtown. They're probably 3 mimosas deep talking about how I'm going to finance her dream life. You check her location? She's on my phone plan. Find My iPhone is a beautiful thing. Mark laughed. You know what? Sometimes I forget how good you are at your job. I installed 3 new security cameras while we waited. One on the front door, one on the back, one covering the driveway. All linked to my phone. High-def audio and video. If she was going to have a meltdown, I wanted it documented. At 5:51 p.m., my phone lit up. Text from Lauren. Babe, the door won't open. Is the lock jammed? I screenshot it, sent it to Mark, then replied, check the notice on the door. 3 minutes of silence. I was watching her on the front door camera. She read the notice. Read it again. Pulled out her phone. Started calling me. I declined the call. Then 16 more calls. Each one declined. It was therapeutic, honestly. Then the show really started. Lauren spent the first 10 minutes crying on my front porch. Full body sobs, mascara running, the whole performance. Then she tried her key again, and again, and again. Like maybe the fifth time would magically unlock a door with completely new locks. Then came the anger phase. She started banging on the door. Not knocking, banging. Andrew! Andrew! Open this door right now. This is my house too. You can't just lock me out. Actually, I could. And I did. Mark had been very clear about that. She tried calling me another 7 times. I let them all go to voicemail. The messages went from confused, to angry, to threatening. The last one. You're going to regret this. You think you're so smart? You have no idea who you're messing with. That was the real Lauren. Then she made the call I'd been waiting for. She sat down on the front porch steps, pulled out her phone and dialed. Put it on speaker. My doorbell camera caught every word. Sarah? Sarah, he knows. I don't know how, but he knows. The locks are changed. My stuff's gone. There's an eviction notice on the door. Sarah's voice came through sharp and incredulous. What do you mean he knows? How could he possibly? Lauren, what did you do? Nothing. I didn't do anything. I was careful. Were you? Because last week you were getting sloppy. I told you to wait until after the wedding to push the house thing. I told you he's a PI and you needed to be smarter about this. I was being smart. I practiced everything. Oh my God. The voice memo. Silence. Lauren, the voice memo I told you to record and then delete. Please tell me you deleted it. More silence. You left it on your phone. He found it. Lauren, you absolute idiot. It was an accident. I forgot to delete evidence of your plan to commit fraud. Are you kidding me right now? Is your name on anything? The house, bank accounts, anything? No, I was going to. Then you're screwed. You have nothing. No legal claim, no leverage, nothing. How much money do you have access to? My checking account has like $400. That's it? After 5 years, you have $400? What have you been doing? You said to wait. You said build trust first, then congratulations, little sister. You just blew a $500,000 con over a voice memo. I'd be impressed if I wasn't so disappointed. The call ended. Lauren sat there staring at her phone like it might suddenly offer solutions. It didn't. Then she did something I didn't expect. She started laughing. Not hysterical crying laughing. Actually laughing. Like she just heard the funniest joke in the world. Okay, she said to herself. Okay, fine. He wants to play games? I can play games. She stood up, wiped her face, and walked to her car with this weird, determined stride. Like she'd just had an epiphany. Except the epiphany was probably, how can I make this man's life a living hell? She drove off. I watched her location on Find My iPhone. She went straight to Sarah's apartment. I texted Mark. She called her sister. Camera caught everything. They're regrouping. Mark replied immediately, good. Let them. Anything they plan now is being recorded. She's going to dig herself deeper. Just sit tight and don't engage. Not planning to. But Lauren wasn't done for the day. Oh no. This was just intermission. That night, Vanessa showed up at my door making threats. I told her where the storage unit was, closed the door, and sent the camera footage to Mark. Mark, perfect. She's inserting herself into a legal matter. Keep documentation of everything. This is going exactly how I expected. How's that? They're panicking. Panicked people make mistakes. Just wait. He was right. The mistakes were about to get spectacular. Saturday morning, I woke up to 43 text messages, 18 missed calls, and a notification that someone had tried to access my email account 23 times overnight. Subtle. I changed all my passwords again. Added two-factor authentication to everything. At this point, my digital fortress was tighter than Fort Knox. Lauren was staying at Sarah's apartment, according to Find My iPhone. That's when I disabled her access to the family plan. Let her get her own phone service. The audacity of plotting to rob someone while still on their phone plan, right? Saturday morning, social media became a war zone. Lauren posted, I can't believe I wasted 5 years on someone who could throw me out like trash over a misunderstanding. 212 comments, 93 shares, full victim mode. I let it sit for 4 hours. Then I commented with the voice memo transcript, word for word, timestamps, screenshots. The comment section imploded. Half her friends deleted their supportive comments. Vanessa tried claiming Lauren was joking about a TV show plot. Sarah posted about financial abuse. I screenshot everything and sent it to Mark. Mark. She's establishing a defense narrative. Won't work, but it's entertaining. Then, things got weird. Sunday afternoon, Lauren's mom, Margaret, called. I'd always liked her. The kind of woman who brings you homemade soup when you're sick. Andrew, I heard you made Lauren homeless. Is that true? I sent her the voice memo transcript. When she called back 5 minutes later, she was crying. She told me you forced her to quit her job, that you were controlling. Margaret's voice broke. I should have known. Sarah's been a bad influence since they were teenagers. 2 divorces and Lauren thought she was a role model. I'm sorry, Margaret said. You deserved better than my daughter. That hurt more than anything Lauren had done. Monday morning, the wedding venue emailed confirming Lauren's request to upgrade the package and move the date. New balance, $43,000, due Wednesday. I called immediately. The wedding is canceled. Not moved. Canceled. Sir, your fiancé has authorized access. Check your email in the next hour. I'm sending an eviction notice, fraud evidence, and a cease and desist from my attorney. You process those charges. I sue for wire fraud. Mark's package arrived 45 minutes later. Their legal team called back in 49. Wedding canceled, deposit refunded. Lauren banned from the premises. But she wasn't done. Tuesday night, 11:31 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Don't hang up, Lauren said. Her voice was different, calculated, cold. I'm hanging up. I can make this worth your while. That stopped me. Excuse me? I know about your crypto wallet, the one from those early Bitcoin investments you made in 2013. You mentioned it once, said it was worth about $180,000 now. Derek's really good with tech. Really, really good. And he owes me a favor. My blood went cold. Not from fear, from rage. Lauren, are you threatening to hack my accounts? She laughed. Actual laughter. I'm negotiating. Give me $50,000 and I'm gone. No drama, no lawyers, no mess. Think about it. Legal fees for what's coming will cost you way more than that. This is me being generous. Generous. Clock's ticking, Andrew. I'll give you 24 hours to decide. Otherwise, things get complicated. She hung up. I'd recorded the whole thing. iPhone's voice memo app running in the background. Sent the file to Mark before I even called him. I immediately called Mark. Then my bank. Then my crypto exchange. Changed every password, enabled every security feature. Added 2-factor authentication to accounts I didn't even know I had. Then I called Mark back. She just committed a felony, Mark said, voice almost gleeful. Extortion. Attempted extortion, technically, since she hasn't followed through yet. But threatening to hack financial accounts? That's federal. I want to file a police report. Already drafting the documentation. Record any other calls. We're building a case that's going to bury her. That night, at 2:27 a.m., I got 31 notifications. Someone had tried to log into my crypto exchange, dozens of failed login attempts. The next morning, I filed a police report with the cybercrime division. They were very interested. The police took the extortion attempt seriously. Turns out threatening to hack someone's financial accounts is exactly the kind of thing that gets federal agencies excited. The cybercrime detective, a guy named Morrison, who looked like he'd never seen sunlight, was almost giddy. We've been tracking Derek Mitchell for about 8 months, Morrison said during our meeting. Small-time cyber criminal, identity theft, some credit card fraud, hacking into ex-girlfriend's email accounts. Nothing huge, but consistent. If your ex is working with him, she's way dumber than she thinks she is. That seems to be a pattern. Morrison smiled. We'll subpoena the phone records, track the login attempts, coordinate with the crypto exchange. This is actually a pretty solid case. Usually these things are hard to prove, but she left a digital trail like breadcrumbs. 2 weeks later, Derek was arrested at a coffee shop in Portland. According to Morrison, he was using someone else's laptop, already a parole violation, and had Lauren's extortion text thread open on his phone. He folded within 6 hours. Gave up everything. The texts, the emails, the coaching sessions. Turned out Derek and Lauren had been in contact for over a year. He'd been advising her on the long con strategy, pulling from his own experience getting scammed by her back in college. The prosecutor called me a week after Derek's arrest. Mr. Thompson, we're building a case against Ms. Thompson and Mr. Mitchell for conspiracy to commit fraud, attempted extortion, and unauthorized computer access. Derek's cooperating, which is good for us. But we need to know, do you want to press charges? Absolutely. Understood. We're offering Derek a plea deal. His testimony in exchange for a reduced sentence, 5 to 7 years instead of 10 to 15. Without his cooperation, we might not get a conviction on Lauren. Whatever gets her convicted. We'll be in touch. The case moved faster than I expected. Lauren's lawyer, some overworked public defender who probably drew the short straw, tried to negotiate a deal. Claimed Lauren was in an abusive relationship, that she was scared, that she was trying to protect herself financially. Mark laughed when he heard that defense. She recorded herself bragging about the con. She tried to extort you. She conspired with a known cyber criminal. Good luck selling the abuse narrative. Then the pregnancy bomb dropped. Lauren's lawyer filed a motion claiming she couldn't be incarcerated because she was 16 weeks pregnant. Derek's kid, obviously. The timeline matched exactly when she'd started pushing hard about the house deed. She'd been pregnant with another man's baby, while planning to trap me in marriage and steal my assets. The layers of deception were almost artistic. The prosecutor wasn't sympathetic. Ms. Thompson, being pregnant doesn't exempt you from consequences. We're willing to offer a plea deal. 2 years probation, restitution, mandatory shutdown of your coaching business, and full cooperation with ongoing investigations. Violate probation, you serve 3 years regardless of your pregnancy status. Coaching business, that opened a whole new can of worms. Turns out Lauren had been running an online course for the past 3 years. Securing Your Destiny, A Woman's Guide to Financial Independence Through Strategic Partnerships, $499 per enrollment. Over 200 women had taken the course. It was literally a guide on how to gold dig. The website had testimonials, success stories, women bragging about how they'd convinced boyfriends to buy them cars, add them to leases, pay off their student loans. Lauren had monetized relationship fraud. Within a week of my social media post going viral, 60 of Lauren's former students contacted Mark's office, all left with damaged relationships and debt from her advice. The civil suit was brutal. Court day arrived. Lauren showed up looking nothing like the woman I'd known. Hair flat, no makeup, wearing some bargain maternity dress. Vanessa was there, sitting in the back, glaring at everyone like this was somehow our fault. Sarah was notably absent. The judge was a woman in her 60s who looked like she'd seen everything and had no patience for nonsense. Miss Thompson, the judge said, reading through the case files, you ran a business teaching women how to commit fraud? Lauren's lawyer started to respond, but the judge held up a hand. I'm asking, Miss Thompson. Lauren looked at the floor. It wasn't fraud. It was financial strategy. You taught women to deceive romantic partners for financial gain. I taught them to protect themselves. By lying? Silence. The judge read from Lauren's website materials. Out loud. In court. Quote, the key is establishing yourself as essential before making financial asks. Be the perfect girlfriend. Cook, clean, emotional support. Make him dependent on you. Then, slowly introduce ideas about shared assets, joint accounts, adding your name to deeds. By the time he realizes what happened, you're legally protected. End quote. The courtroom was silent. Ms. Thompson, this isn't financial strategy. This is a manual for relationship fraud. How much money did you make from this business? About $73,000 over 3 years. And the gifts Mr. Thompson gave you that you sold? $15,000. So you have $88,000 from fraudulent activities. Ms. Thompson will be ordered to pay restitution. Mr. Thompson is entitled to compensation for emotional distress, legal fees, and damages. I'm awarding him $30,000 from Ms. Thompson's assets. Additionally, Ms. Thompson will return the engagement ring, pay a $20,000 fine, and shut down her business permanently. Any violation of these terms results in immediate jail time, pregnancy notwithstanding. Lauren started crying. Real tears this time. Furthermore, the judge continued, Ms. Thompson will serve 2 years probation. Any contact with Mr. Thompson or attempts to profit from this case, including media deals, book contracts, or social media monetization, will be considered a probation violation. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. Good. Next time you want to teach women about financial independence, try teaching them to get jobs. Court adjourned. I walked out feeling lighter than I had in months. Mark was grinning like he'd just won the lottery. That judge just destroyed her. That judge is my new hero. Vanessa caught up with me in the parking lot. You happy now? You destroyed her life. No, Vanessa. She destroyed her own life. I just refused to be collateral damage. She's pregnant. She's broke. She has nothing. She has $38,000 left after the settlement. She has her mom. She has the option to get an actual job and build an actual life instead of scamming people. That's more than a lot of people get. Vanessa looked like she wanted to say more, but couldn't find the words. She walked away. I never saw her again. 3 months later, Derek's in federal prison. Sarah moved out of state. Lauren's working retail, living with Margaret. I sold the engagement ring, donated the money to a women's shelter, got a dog, named him Mark. My lawyer found it hilarious. Redecorated the house. New furniture, fresh paint, erased the traces of someone who'd never really been there. Then, 4 months after the court case, Lauren called. I almost didn't answer. My first instinct was to let it go to voicemail, document it, send it to Mark. But curiosity got the better of me. Andrew, she said. Her voice was small, broken. Please don't hang up. You've got 30 seconds. I need help. I laughed. Couldn't help it. You need help? That's rich. Please, I know I don't deserve it. I know I ruined everything. But I'm 8 months pregnant. I got fired from my job for missing shifts. My mom kicked me out. And I have nowhere to go. Why would your mom kick you out? She found out about the other stuff. The coaching business. The women I scammed. She said she couldn't have someone like me around. I'm living in Sarah's old apartment, but I can't afford rent. I'm going to be homeless in 2 weeks. The baby's due in 3. And you called me because... Because you're the only person I know who has money and might possibly give a shit. Right. Andrew, I made mistakes. Mistakes are forgetting to buy milk. You committed fraud. Multiple felonies. You're not calling me because you've changed. You're calling me because you've run out of options and you think I'm still the same sucker you were engaged to. I'm desperate. Good. That's called consequences. What about the baby? You're going to let an innocent baby be homeless? The baby isn't my problem, Lauren. It's Derek's. And he's in prison because of choices you both made. You want help? Call social services. Apply for welfare. Get a job that doesn't involve scamming people. There are programs for pregnant women in your situation. Use them. I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. I know I messed up. I was stupid and greedy. And I hurt you. But I'm begging you. Please. Just enough to get through the next few months. I'll pay you back, I swear. Like you paid back Derek? Or the women from your course? Or your previous ex-boyfriend you sued? Lauren, your entire adult life has been scamming people and facing zero consequences. That ends now. So that's it? You're just going to let me suffer? I'm not letting you do anything. You built this life. You made these choices. I'm just refusing to finance your continued existence as a professional con artist. You're cruel. I laughed again. I'm cruel? I gave you 5 years of my life. I supported you financially. I trusted you. I was planning to marry you, and you were planning to steal my house and disappear. But I'm cruel for not bailing you out after you tried to destroy me. Lauren was crying now. Ugly, desperate crying. What am I supposed to do? Figure it out. You're smart enough to run a fraud business. You're smart enough to build an actual life. Get a job, any job. Apply for assistance. Call Margaret and apologize. Do literally anything except call the person you tried to rob and ask for money. Margaret won't talk to me. Then call Sarah, or Vanessa, or any of the women from your course who still think you're a guru. I don't care, but I'm not your safety net. I'm not your backup plan. I'm not your Mark. I'm the guy who got away. Long silence. I really am sorry, she finally said. For whatever that's worth. It's worth nothing. Sorry is something you say when you accidentally bump into someone at the grocery store. You can't sorry away years of calculated fraud. Then what do you want from me? Nothing, Lauren. I don't want anything from you. I just want you to never contact me again. What if I... No. This is the last conversation we're ever having. You call me again. I'm filing a restraining order. You show up at my house. I'm calling the police. You contact my friends, my family, my clients. You're violating probation and you go to jail. Are we clear? Crystal. Good. Lose this number. I hung up. She texted 3 minutes later. I understand. For what it's worth, the time we had together was real for me. Some of it anyway. I hope you find someone who deserves you. I blocked the number. Sent a screenshot to Mark just in case. Mark texted back, that was cold. I'm proud of you. She had it coming. Oh, absolutely. But still, ice cold. The thing about revenge is that it's not usually explosive or dramatic. It's not confrontation or violence or grand gestures. Real revenge is just refusing to be someone's solution to the problems they created. Lauren thought she was smart enough to play me. She wasn't. She thought she could manipulate her way into my life and steal everything I'd built. She couldn't. She thought I'd be the same person after she betrayed me. the trusting, generous, oblivious boyfriend who'd finance her disaster of a life. I wasn't. The best revenge wasn't destroying Lauren. She destroyed herself. I just refused to catch her when she fell. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.